'Tis the season to switch up sets. La 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 la. You go here. You are gonna get taped to the ceiling. There you go. And you, why did I buy this? You are gonna go there. You know what the funnier part is that this video has literally nothing to do with Christmas at all.
Did I say fuck?
If you're an avid YouTube watcher, you for sure know who Game Theory is, along with the channel's host, MatPat, the funny white man who connects things in video games to real life. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, he also created the hit children's series Five Nights at Freddy's. Moving on. You would think that for somebody who just dissects things in media such as video games, movies, TV shows, YouTube channels, and the mainstream media and food, what the fuck? You'd think that he'd be in a similar vein to Daily Dose of Internet or Vsauce, where they're so disconnected from the rest of the internet that they don't tend to really catch a lot of heat or drama. You're wrong! Game Theory, and specifically MatPat, have been in heaps of controversy. Tons of people have openly voiced their disdain with the channel and some of the things that they have done. And that's what this video is going to be focused on today. The many attempts to cancel/criticize Game Theory/MatPat. I'm not going to focus on the criticisms towards Game Theory as an entertainer because I feel 50-50 about that, and so does the rest of the internet, as seen in the earliest iteration of quote-unquote Game Theory hate on Optimus's video, which you should check out. Even though I personally don't agree with it, I still found it very interesting, and that seems to be a sentiment carried by everybody else, judging from the pretty tight-necked like-dislike ratio, and also the comments. We could debate about the quality of the actual show forever and never reach a clear-cut conclusion, so let's go ahead and focus on something that is way more cut and dry. Morality. Get it? Because morality is usually gray, and it's not very cut and dry. And there are usually a lot of problems. Who the fuck wrote this script? So yeah, we're going into the hot water that Game Theory has gotten into for controversial things that they have said or done. I don't really got them in any particular order, and I am definitely not going through all of them. Like, there is this whole situation that has to do with Etika. Yeah, I'm not touching that with a 39.5-foot pole. This is still a critical video, but I'm not trying to get into anything that would require research for weeks on end to respond with the proper respect. So we're just going to focus on some much lighter topics, starting with... By far, this is the most recent occurrence we will be talking about today, as this literally happened the day of me writing this. For Game Theory's Bendy and the Dark Revival theory, the thumbnail uses an artist's render of one of the characters from the game, and said artist made a big stink about it on Twitter. Pause to read for full context, but essentially, he wants full credit for what happened because this is the third time that he's done this, and he's worried about people hating him over this thread. Taking this at face value, should Game Theory have credited you? Probably, but if you really dislike your art being used that much, you should not put it on a public wiki, and even more so if it's already happened twice before. Remember what the greatest lyricist of our generation... I couldn't even finish that line with a straight face. Remember what the greatest lyricist of our generation, Jermaine Lamar Cole, said. Fool me one time, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you. Fool me 3 times, fuck the peace sign, load the chopper, let it... But hey, I'm not an artist, so maybe there's some nuance to this situation that I don't personally get. Is what I would be saying if there wasn't an update to the story. So the artist posted these 3 update tweets. Locking tweet cause I am an idiot and most likely wrong about this for the most part, lol. Still not 100% sure, but yeah, parts of it look very similar to mine, but it just might use other renders as well, but it's so warped, it's hard to tell, so I'm just gonna drop it for now. Now, I'm fully aware that some of you may lead normal lives. You might not speak the language of Twitter, so let me tell you what this statement actually says. I tweeted this out with the idea of there being a 50-50 chance he had stolen my work. However, I connected several loaded statements to make it look like I was 100% sure. Whoops. I'm attaching this to make it seem like there might be a possibility that he did steal my work, but I'm taking the high ground and abandoning the topic. God, I'm so morally sound. And then he ends the damn thing with self-promotion. Yeah, I'm wasting my time here. Normally, I would go into the community response and what the general consensus on this thing is, but this dude locked the tweet, so all of the comments are outdated. Let's move on. Heartbound is one of those sprite-based, inspired by Undertale indie games that MatPat and his wife played on stream one time. They uploaded the highlights to their live channel with the name, "The next Undertale game is here." When the creator saw this, he got angry and publicly vented on Twitter because he got their name wrong, there was no credit given in the description, and he was mad that they compared their game to Undertale. Here's footage of Undertale, and here's footage of Heartbound. Look, I understand being upset at the title because on first look, that is a super deceptive title, but the actual contents of the video are your game. And why would your game not being linked in the description deter people who genuinely want to play your game? Google exists, and despite the bad title, the name of your game is still in there. God, I would love to play this game that MatPat played on stream with its title in the first minute and 30 seconds of the video, and its title displayed in the title of the actual video, and its title also in the description of the title. But uh-oh, there's no referral link. Oh well, guess I'll just go do some fentanyl instead. And being blunt, you yourself have said that you were directly inspired by Undertale, and that game is just more popular than yours. So he's using the fact that that game is more popular to try and promote this video to more people who would more likely be interested in that same style of game, if that makes sense. And using the tags is fucking cheating. Those are literally inaccessible unless you use specific software. MatPat doesn't respond to all of these controversies, but he did respond to this one. Pause to read, but his response essentially boils down to, you know, I'm sorry you feel that way. My team chooses the post-production factors of the video and not me. We're most likely going to start putting links in their games now, and most of the stuff that we did here is not mutually exclusive to you. And this response is kind of unwarranted to me. Despite how critical I was of the creator's initial tweet, his reasoning for being disappointed is honestly super sound. The title has in all caps literally "Next Undertale!" with the game's actual title being sidelined. But the way he went about venting his frustrations was completely incorrect, and MatPat really should have just not responded, or responded with like a sentence saying "I'm sorry" and then just change the title. And again, for those who don't speak Twitter, the last paragraph actually reads, "I'm not gonna do shit about standardizing links, but you can keep on dreaming, buddy." But then the creator of the game that inspired this controversy, Toby Fox, steps into the ring with a fucking awful response. Honestly, you should link to any game you play. Creators need all the help they can get. I don't understand how people don't get this, but by simply playing the game to their millions of followers, they are helping these devs promote the game. Again, if people are genuinely curious and want to play the game, they are not going to be stopped by the lack of a link. And think carefully if you're misleading your audience with how you present your videos. Okay, I agree with that. You went too far this time. You say that as if he's like taken a copy of the game and like burned it on stream. Like, bruh. But it doesn't really matter, because after this Toby Fox incident, MatPat came to his senses and released this apology tweet. "I'm sorry for what came across as defensive. Again, I meant no disrespect, but apologies are one thing, actions are another. All games will now be linked to download. We'll revise the way we tag /title live streams. A promise to improve. Hopefully this is a good start. Boo! I wanted you to double down. I hate small developers. I will say it's kind of lame it took someone much higher up on the totem pole to elicit this type of response from MatPat, but in fairness to him, he promised to act on all of these things, and just looking at the live stream channel now, it does look like he has. The community response to this, however, it exemplifies what is wrong with looking at just one side of the argument. Every single tweet here trying to criticize MatPat reads like they read the Pirate Software tweet, the Toby Fox tweet, and every third word of the Game Theory thread. I try not to pick on Game Theory much because it's an easy target. That said, MatPat is a tool. The classic, I'm sorry you feel that way, blaming his staff and not understanding that credit is not a luxury, but rather an expectation. I've been on record saying this before, but your expectations for what a YouTuber should be, don't be a murderer, don't be a sexual deviant, don't be prejudiced, and maybe don't be an asshole. Content creators do not owe you fucking anything. They are here to entertain. That is all. Caught up with stuff today, and I'm glad MatPat is getting no sympathy regarding the Heartbound thing. The Game Theory team have pulled a lot of crap in similar fields, using fan art in their videos uncredited, over-extorting a topic for money, so I hope this is a wake-up call. Over-extorting a topic for money. That has to be the most demonizing way I have ever seen somebody say just milk videos. Thankfully, the responses on YouTube are much more level-headed, such as Treesicle's video, which I really recommend. It goes over a lot of stuff I didn't have time to cover in this segment. So way back in the day, like nearly a decade ago, Game Theory uploaded a video called How PewDiePie Conquered YouTube. The video theorized that the reason why good old Reddit master PewDiePie was able to become #1 on YouTube is by having an exorbitant amount of watch time and also jumping from region to region, getting views from all across the board. Later down the line in 2018, PewDiePie would address this video as it was tucked inside of an article, and he loved it. I mean, just look at what he had to say about it.
Matt did this video, which is a really good video.
Yep, that's it. That's the whole context. It's not like the immediate next sentence he said was,
I still hate it, and I think he should delete it.
Yeah, this situation is a lot hairier than others because you have to take individual people's emotions into account, people who we don't really know. When observing the time period this video was released in, PewDiePie had all eyes on him because of the whole T-Series thing, and there were a bunch of people just waiting to scrutinize him for his every move. So I'm sure the Game Theory video, as well as the article it was wrapped in, was just adding to the pile. So yeah, I understand why he would be upset in this scenario. Imagine if somebody told you that your life's work was the result of cheating systems. I have to watch a video. The Santa hat on top of the actual hat is making it very hard.
But why this Let's Play channel? There's thousands out there. Well, there's one other reason the algorithm loves PewDiePie. He's international. You see, YouTube promotes channels locally. If you live in California, your videos will be served up in California more frequently than in other areas of the US. And if you live in the US, your videos will stay in the US until you gather enough views from other countries to merit them sharing your stuff there. PewDiePie has a unique advantage over most other channels because YouTube considers his channel Swedish, since he started it when he was living in Sweden. Makes sense. Since then, he's moved, meaning that he lives and uploads from Italy, but he also speaks English. So, since YouTube promotes locally, he was able to gather a strong Swedish following in a market where there was less competition. But now that he uploads from Italy, he gets promoted there, and since YouTube is most heavily used in English-speaking nations, he had a much easier time crossing into the US and UK than a channel from here would have.
Okay, Matt, you had no idea what you're talking about. This is such a dumb video, and if you want to piss me off, just say, oh, well, PewDiePie, he just grew because he moved countries. The reason this annoys me especially is because it's the complete opposite. When I started off doing YouTube, there was a lot of ways to poke through the system. There was a lot of ways you could deliberately do to make your channel grow quicker. That was technically not allowed, but YouTube didn't really stop anyone from doing it.
Again, it's reasonable that he's upset here, but when you poke through what he's actually saying, he's suggesting that Matt suggested that he only got to the position of where he was by poking holes. However, as I stated previously, a huge chunk of the beginning of Game Theory's video is dedicated to describing what watch time is and how it is working in PewDiePie's favor, and the very ending portion of the video is this.
videos. Now, none of this is meant to downplay anything he does. People love his videos. If they didn't, no amount of algorithmic help would save the channel. And in fact, he's a great guy, constantly raising awareness and money for charity.
I understand why PewDiePie would possibly dislike this, though. It's like a kiss on the cheek after a knee to the balls. However, it still does feel like PewDiePie is leaving out a big chunk of what Matt actually said and distilling it down to this single point. Since this isn't a video with a ton of other stuff in it, there isn't really a whole bunch of community response to go off of. I don't know, maybe PewDiePie's epic-ass subreddit made some dank memes about the situation in the same level of 9-year-old army watching Mr. Beast surpass PewDiePie. That is so cool. I hope you get fucking... Whoa. I mean, you got the YouTube comments, but those are always gonna be biased, you know. Game Theory, I support you no matter what. PewDiePie, I support you no matter what. However, Matt did respond at the tail end of this video, so let's see what he has to say. And honestly, he responded really well. He pointed out a ton of fallacies in PewDiePie's argument. He showed how PewDiePie actually proved his theories correct. And most importantly, the thing that I didn't even pick up on, he wasn't suggesting that PewDiePie got to where he was by cheating systems, but rather he was already getting promo because he was an established American YouTuber because he spoke English.
Actively working in YouTube analytics, not at YouTube, but as a consultant for some of the biggest channels on the platform. And I saw the effects of being a successful international channel. I saw it in the data time and time again. English-speaking international channels would cross over into the US very easily, giving them huge views in their home country and in the US. But US channels trying to cross outward into a different country had to hit a certain threshold of views in that country before something in the data just flipped like a switch, and then suddenly views started to pour in from that new part of the world. In your video, you even described seeing this for yourself.
When I started off doing YouTube, there was a lot of ways to poke through the system.
You described American channels cheating the system of YouTube at the time.
What people did was they would set their channel as Swedish, even though they were American.
They did that by setting their channel's official country codes other than the US, where there was less competition to get onto the home pages. But here's the thing, if indeed this technique worked, which you seem to acknowledge,
It annoys me because I was so frustrated by this back in 2013.
then would you, by moving between countries while still uploading, whether you intended it or not, would it also work for you? You, being an English-speaking channel whose channel country was set to Sweden and was uploading from multiple different European countries, whether it was intentional or not, you somehow benefited from the same system. You literally confirmed my theory in your video critiquing my theory.
So yeah, I would have to give the dub to MatPat on this one. He was correct and he was polite about it. On March 14th of 2020, Game Theory uploaded a video called "Which Characters Would Survive the Censored Virus?" It's a video about which fictionalized video game character would survive the coronavirus.
Today's episode is inspired by the most viral topic that's sweeping the globe in 2020.
Oh no.
You could say that this topic is infectious.
Oh no.
You won't believe your ears when you hear the conclusion of this episode.
Oh no.
Hello internet, welcome to Game Theory, where, just a quick promo here at the top, we have ourselves a cool new pullover hoodie with a really awesome Japanese-inspired design.
Ew. That's a shirt that basically screams "heckle me in public." I will say all of those clips are from the intro, and it doesn't really get that bad again, but there are still parts to this video where I watch it and I wonder how the fuck MatPat thought it was a good idea to post this.
Add a quick side note here for a second. Ever since I grew the beard, everywhere I go, people won't stop calling me Matt Daddy. Guys, please stop. Do not call me Matt Daddy. And whatever you do, do not make hashtag Matt Daddy trend, okay? I repeat, I totally do not want Matt Daddy to become a thing. It would be awful if that nickname were to stick for me. But looking at the chart, it becomes immediately clear that if this were a real disease, which it clearly is not, it would practically wipe out every major YouTube gamer. I mean, which video game character makes it through this epidemic, and which ones go the way of the Wii U?
However, keep in mind, he did this during the height of the pandemic, back when nobody was really aware of the effects of COVID. And he does share some genuinely useful research, but oh boy. Now the fattest call-out post that garnered the most attention would be this tweet from Chad Tronic here with 18,000 likes. So he starts off the tweet by saying, 5,000 dead, this is not a fidget spinner type trend, which fictional character would survive the coronavirus, which is, you know, a pretty decent start. #1 trending on gaming. Merch ad. What? 2 mid-rolls. At NordVPN sponsored. Huh? This is profiting off a tragedy at Team Utah. Okay, I get this now. There is a vast difference between genuine criticism and self-absorbed callouts. Chad here listing off how popular the video is as ammunition is such a cheap shot, and I do not understand how people don't get that going for the money is a bad idea. Trying to get somebody in trouble financially is so fucking slimy, especially considering what MatPat has done here is, let's face it, not that bad. I hate arguments like this, but let's be real, there are at least 5,000 different channels that have done far worse than what MatPat has done here. Adding his sponsor is a bitch move. That is you trying to get brownie points by pointing at MatPat and saying, "Look everyone, he did it bad! Pay attention to me!" No, look at me, look at me! Adding Team YouTube is a super bitch move. That is just you going to the boss of everybody on the platform just to tattletale on this guy. And let's be real, profiting off of tragedy is just a blatant exaggeration. Could you argue that the video was in poor taste? Yes. Could you argue that it was released at the absolute worst time? Yes. But profiting off tragedy? That implies he did something like Jay Station or Michael McCrudden, where they would make videos on people the day of their death. The difference between these two is that those guys would make videos on singular people whose family members were probably devastated by the fact that they were dead. It's incredibly gross. Imagine if you were a family member or a friend of the person who died, and then you see this video where somebody essentially mocks the fact that they're dead. However, when it comes to MatPat's video, there wasn't a soul in the world that wasn't affected by COVID. When you're watching it, you don't have to pretend to be a COVID survivor. You are a COVID survivor. The number one biggest problem for most people when it came to the pandemic was mental strain, and a lot of people coped with that through content creation. That's actually how this channel came to be. Hell, MatPat even alludes to this in the beginning of the video.
And maybe I'm just getting a little stir crazy this winter. Maybe I'm just sick of how serious things in the world have been lately. Maybe I just wanted to go back to the over-the-top ridiculous theories that this channel was built on, but whatever the reason, today's episode is dumb. Capital I-Z-D-U-M, dumb.
And I'm inclined to believe him. Honestly, a big reason as to why I started my channel was because I was just so sick of being pent up in the house all day and just hearing all of these shitty things about COVID, and I am more than sure that I am not the only one. So yeah, profiting off a tragedy, this ain't, and trying to get YouTube to think it is just straight up shitty. Donate the profits to relief efforts at MatPatGT. I'm gonna hit you with the 101 on self-absorbed pricks like this. When somebody starts demanding that somebody else's bread is donated to charity, they don't care. They straight up, they do not care. That is true virtue signaling at its finest right there. It may not look like it at first, but whenever that argument is brought up, the true implication behind it is that if I was in their position, I would give the money away, 'cause I'm a good person. It's like that Family Guy episode where Brian stops 9/11 and Stewie keeps on telling him like not to, and then Brian hits him with this.
Stewie, it's fine. I prevented 9/11. How could that possibly be a bad thing? I mean, come on, I saved like 200 lives.
3,000.
Wow, 3,000?
Oh, you knew what you were doing there.
I can't believe I just shoehorned a Family Guy reference into this. I am so stupid. And if you think I'm exaggerating the self-indulgence of this post, Chad thankfully confirms it for me in the comments. I don't care if you're a fan of this channel or not. I'm both disgusted and embarrassed to be a part of the same community as this person. He has spun this argument to be about himself. I am disgusted to be a part of the same platform as this community. He's affected me. Hey, Chad, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret here. I'm gonna zoom in and tell you something super special. This has absolutely fucking nothing to do with you. You can express your opinion on this, you know, you can say it's disgusting to have somebody like this on the platform if that's what you truly think, but that's not what you're doing. You're making this situation about yourself. The comments here are 50-50 in the worst way possible. On one hand, you got, I'm entirely convinced MatPat is a genuinely bad person and probably a psychopath. And then you also have, at MatPatGT raises awareness all the time and even done a huge charity event for children with cancer, brought tears to his eyes, and you're calling him out over a different takeoff of virus. That argument really bothers me because you're trying to devalue a thing by saying, oh, well, he's a good person in this regard, so he's off the hook. Bit of an extreme example here, but if Tony Lopez donated $1 million to breast cancer research, well, that's great, but it doesn't change the fact that he googity that girl. And that's honestly what makes me the most upset about this. It could have been a true slap on the mouth moment for game theory, but it's a shame that the viral tweet was from this complete headass. So thanks, Chadtronic. Your self-indulgence ruined a perfect learning opportunity. I hope you're happy with yourself. So in conclusion, Chadtronic needs to donate all the likes and attention he got from this tweet to me, a struggling channel. That's all for this video, and I actually have a little afterthought. Going into this, I honestly expected there to be a lot more cut and dry answers. However, in actuality, it was a lot less cut and dry. The only one that had a really definitive answer to me, at least, was the PewDiePie one. And everything else, it was all just like super split up. You know, game theory's a little right for this, but you know, the other person is also a little right in this regard. Moral of the video is this: don't take everything at face value on the internet, because chances are the information is likely much more complex than it's laid out to be. You don't care, you're just gonna go play Fortnite after this video, you fucking 8-year-old. Anyway, that's all for this video. Like and subscribe or I'll bang your mom to Five Nights at Freddy's lore. Keep calm, and as always, that's just a theory. A fuck yourself theory. Thanks for watching.
All the boys can keep you punks at bay. No one does it better than the birds of prey. All the boys can always save the day. No one does it better. No one does it better than the birds of prey.